Hi guys, Miss Simon here. Today we're going to be making Paula Deen's Monster Cookies. Should take us about 10 minutes of prep time and 10 minutes of cook time. Now in class today we went through and scaled the original recipe so that it made half the amount of yield. So instead of yielding 36 cookies, it's now only going to yield 18 cookies. Our original recipe you can see here is on the left for us, and our finished scaled recipe that we worked together in class on is over here on the right hand side. Let's take a look at our directions. First, we want to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and to line our cookie sheets with parchment paper or non-stick baking mats. So you'll see I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees and I have my baking pan lined with parchment paper. Now I did leave this out for a moment just to show you the difference here. This is genuine parchment paper. Okay, we want to make sure that we're not using wax paper. That should not be going into our oven. All right, let's review our last two instructions. In a very large mixing bowl, combine the eggs, sugars, mix well, add the salt, vanilla, peanut butter, and butter, mix well again. Stir in the chocolate candies, chocolate chips, raisins, if we're using them, baking soda, and oatmeal, and then drop by tablespoons 2 inches apart onto our prepared cookie sheets. Bake for 8 to 10 minutes, but do not overbake. Let stand for about 3 minutes before transferring to wire racks to cool down. And then when cool, store in a large resealable plastic bag. All right guys, let's get started. All right guys, so our recipe calls for 1.5 eggs, which you might be asking, how do I do that? So you'll see in my bowl here, I already have one just full egg right there, okay? So in my small dish here, I added an extra egg. And I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit ahead of time and about add half the quantity of this into our bowl. Okay, so got about half that mixture in there. And then we'll just set this aside. Maybe I'll make some scrambled eggs afterwards, okay? Next, we need to add our sugar. All right, next I'm gonna be adding in my brown sugar. So we are required to add 2 tablespoons and 1/2 cup. So with brown sugar, you wanna make sure it's definitely packed in here. So you can see I'm pressing it into the spoon, make sure I get that. I don't want to get any dark parts out of there. There we go. So we're gonna add 1. 2. And then we add our 1/2 cup in. Again, making sure it's really packed in. There's our 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. Now I need a 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. So I have mine in, this kind of container here, just so you know, that is my granulated sugar. I'm gonna use my scoop to pour in 1/2 cup. And then we'll mix the sugar and the eggs together. Okay, there's our 1/2 cup of sugar. And now I'll use my mixer to combine. to our next set of ingredients. All right, so my next set of ingredients include my salt, vanilla, peanut butter, and butter. So I added my half a stick of softened butter, as you can already see. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt that I need to add. Then I have a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And lastly, my 2/3 cup of peanut butter. So you'll see I have my 1/3 cup here, my Jif peanut butter, but you can use whatever brand your family eats. And I'm just gonna grab a spoon so that I can scoop it out and pack it into my cup. Oh, that was pretty good first try. Right there, so we got one of our 2/3. Now we've got one more. You also could have bought just a 12-ounce jar of peanut butter, but I eat enough peanut butter in my house that just is not logical. So there is my 2/3 of peanut butter. And once again, the directions say to mix well before we add in all of our other good mix-ins. All right, there we go. And there we have our mixture, very well mixed. And we're gonna go from here and add in the rest of our mix-ins. So first we have our 1/4 cup of M&Ms. Or colored candies, as our recipe says. Maybe if I get some more on here. There we go. The rest I get to eat for a snack later. I will add in a 1/4 teaspoon of semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can use milk chocolate, whatever kind of chocolate you honestly want. Ooh, a few extra never killed anybody, right? There we go. I do like my chocolate. And then remember, it also says that we can add in about 2 tablespoons of raisins if we want to. I'm gonna leave mine out. I'm not a huge raisin fan, but you're more than welcome to add those in if you'd like. And then lastly, we have to add in our oats. So I need 2 1/4 cup of oats. Now, when you're choosing oats from the grocery store, make sure that you're purchasing the quick oats, not the old-fashioned, because those won't cook up as quickly. But you also can't use instant, as the recipe says. All right, so we need 2 1/4 cups. So there's 1. Two. And then lastly, a 1/4 cup. And we're done. We're gonna give everything one last mix, and then we'll be able to start dropping our cookies onto our cookie sheet. Now the reason why I'm not using a mixer here is because I don't want my chocolate chips or my M&Ms to get destroyed, which oftentimes will actually happen if you use your mixer. I'm just using a spoon, combining everything. Now you will notice that there is no flour in this recipe, so for those of you that are gluten-free, as long as you are using gluten-free oats, you can actually eat these cookies. I do not offhand know like a vegan substitution if you choose not to use eggs. Obviously you can replace with the mix-ins with like nuts and fruit and everything, but I would, you need to look up what you would use instead of eggs. All right, and there we're all mixed up. Now I'm gonna start putting these on our tray. All right, so you guys are more than welcome to use your hands or to use a spoon and your fingers. I am a little partial to not getting my fingers really dirty, so I use one of these melon ballers, or I call them cookie scoops. And I'm gonna place our cookies right down on the tray here. Remember, the directions do say they should be roughly about 2 inches apart. So I should, if I'm careful, be able to sneak 3 in side by side here. They might touch, but that'll be okay. And there we are. So we're going to start off with 12 cookies, put them in the oven and see what happens. Remember that these are going to cook for about 8 to 10 minutes, so we'll keep an eye on them in the oven as well. All right, and after 10 minutes in the oven, these are our cookies. So you can see mine didn't flatten out as much as the photo showed on Paula Deen's website. So in the future, I may actually push down on them a little bit after I use the scooper to put them on the sheet tray, just to give them that little extra width to them. You can see they look, and unfortunately you can't smell, but they smell delicious, nice peanut buttery scent going all throughout my house. So we'll get about 18 cookies here and enjoy. Hopefully you guys get a chance to make these. If you guys have questions about anything, definitely feel free to let me know.